Good evening, folks, and tonight on I Poke Holes in Paper, a brief defense of foregrips. Why they might be right for you, why they might not be, why they're right for me. So, Lucas Botkin a couple of weeks ago made a video about why he thinks you shouldn't use a vertical foregrip. And that video has gotten a lot of contention in the gun space. And while I am not a proper gun tuber by any means, I felt like, well, I'll put my 2 cents in because I think there's some things that Lucas and those of his ilk have overlooked in the usefulness of the vertical foregrip. Let me sort of preface this conversation by saying I am not a veteran. I have not been there. I have not done that. But I put a lot of rounds downrange for at least I think the average civilian shooter. The difference between myself and Lucas Bakken is obviously he's put many, many, many times more rounds than I have put downrange. Lucas Bakken has put down more rounds than most civilians will actually shoot in their entire lifetimes. So I do want to defend him a little bit in saying that, some of the feedback he's felt, and this is what I've seen him say in the comments, it's like, oh, I guess I just don't get to have an opinion on this. And that's not true. If that's what you're saying out there in defense of foregrips, that Lucas's opinion is somehow invalid or dumb, he's put a lot of rounds downrange, guys. His opinion's not dumb, it just differs from yours. Here's where I land on this. Lucas Botkin, everything that we see him shooting on, everything we see him training on, and what I assume he is shooting and training on in his spare time, it's all flat range stuff. Not to denigrate flat range stuff, but that's all he does. That's all we see him do, at least. And in that use case, yes, he's right. If you go out and you set a target up at 15, 20 yards, whatever, and you do up drills and you just want to put, hey, put 4 rounds on that target as absolutely as fast and as accurate as you can. And just rinse and repeat that test. Yeah, a proper C-clamp grip will get you a better split. It'll get you a tighter group. And he's not wrong about that. Where I think Lucas Botkin's argument has some weakness to it is the notion that the brief stints when you are shooting is the end all be all, most important thing that you could possibly ever do with your rifle. And while it is a very important thing, and shooting accurately and shooting quickly when you need to is a necessary skill, in the environment in which the Second Amendment is to be used, it is to be used in a manner in which we are Minutemen. We are not flat rangers. We need to be able to do more than just shoot one target very quickly on a flat range with these kinds of tools. And I think the difference in a lot of people's opinion on this is that from a competition setting, C-clamp grip with no foregrip interfering with you, it creates a lighter gun, it creates a trimmer gun, it creates a gun that gets in and out of VTAC barricades really fast, and it feels smoother and it feels lighter and trimmer. That's true, but in a scenario where this is your life, this is your constant companion, this is the thing that is going to be on you as much as you need it to be on you for your own preservation and for the preservation of your family and your society, you're going to carry this thing way more than you're ever going to shoot it. You're going to have to hike with this thing. You're going to have to run with this thing. And you're going to have to do it all day. All day. And that is where the vertical foregrip really shines. And while it wasn't covered, and other people have done defensive foregrip videos. Brassfax did one, Modern Tactical Shooting did one, and people who've got a lot more sort of experience out there than I do. But at the end of the day, one of the things that Brassfax said in his comments, and I really feel like it should have been a primary part of the video, is that a vertical foregrip, especially when you are moving with these things, when you are running with these things, when you are carrying these things through varied terrain for hours at a time, boy, it really helps being able to put your hand in a more neutral position while you're carrying stuff, while you're hiking, while you're moving. It matters. It really does. And that gets me to another point of what Lucas said in the video, is that, he took issue with some people saying, well, this is a comfort thing for me. And his response was, well, we carry guns all the time. Guns aren't comfortable. That doesn't negate the idea that we shouldn't make them more comfortable for ourselves. I feel like if I'm carrying a firearm and it's more comfortable for me to carry, I carry it more frequently. I will carry it in more varied situations. I can carry it for longer without getting fatigued. I can do a lot with comfort. Comfort matters. So I disagree with him that comfort is just something that should be ignored. The notion that we shouldn't be able to change the configuration of these tools so that they blend in and become extensions of our bodies on a physiological basis as we're doing dynamic movement things with them, I think that's pretty short-sighted. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. In another part of his video, one of the people who's like in his new company doing like firearms training and stuff said that, well, if you push these things onto a barricade, use it as a barricade stop, you're imbuing pressure onto the handguard, which then means you're putting pressure on the barrel nut, which means you're putting pressure on the barrel, which means you're going to have deflection from the barrel harmonics or whatever, and suddenly this thing is just not as accurate as it was otherwise. Well, I gotta ask, what's this? This is a bipod. I don't got a stud on this gun that goes on an AR-10, but what do these do? What do these connect to? They connect to your handguard, dude. You're telling me that when I put a load on a bipod, even a really kind of meh one like this Magpul one here, that somehow makes the rest of the platform like suddenly inaccurate? No. Bipods make you more accurate, especially at distance, when you are set up properly with them, properly behind them, in a stable shooting position. Like, yeah, bipods rock. So, no, putting this on a barricade isn't going to affect your accuracy in a truly meaningful way. And I will absolutely stand by that. I think that opinion that guy had was misplaced. Is he technically correct? Yes, if we're going to, well, actually, everything here, yeah, it does put a little pressure on your handguard. But guess what? So does this. So does this. So does your hand when you grab the thing. All of that affects what's going on here. And honestly, it's really handguard dependent. This Geisley rail, this is rock solid. Not a lot of deflection with this. This BCM rail, love it. Light, handy, good rail. Flexes more because it is light, because it is thinner, because its design is prioritizing other things beyond just pure stiffness of deflection. So, and you'll notice this one doesn't have a big vertical foregrip. And why? Because this is a pencil barrel, lightweight build that I put together for my wife. So that way she has something that she can use in a pinch. She's not going to be rucking. She's not going to be hiking through the wilderness in situations where I think she's going to need this. So where we have this set up, she needed a consistent place to put her hand, so she knows where her light is, so she gets consistency out of how she's handling and manipulating the firearm. That makes her more comfortable with it. That makes it safer for her to use. So I think vertical grips are great. And you can see that I played around when I had this thing painted without a vertical grip on this guy. I played around with it and I changed my mind. It was like, you know what? Yeah, that thing needs to go back on. I'll paint that at some point. But I have them on most of my long rifles, and I find them to be especially useful on longer rifles where there's more weight, where it is heavier, where it is more awkward to maneuver it. This thing helps. And obviously on shorter barrel configurations, and Lucas even agreed with this, you've got a little 300 blackout 7-inch thing. You've got absolutely no rail space once you've got a light and a laser or whatever you're doing on it. Great. Yeah, you need it. That's the only position your hand can be in. This does everything for me. This creates a hand stop when I need to manipulate the laser. It creates a hand stop when I need to manipulate the light. I can still get a decent C-clamp on it all the rest of the time. And if I need to do skeletal support for fatigued shooting, I can sort of roll my elbow into my side and keep this here for skeletal support shooting. Very similar to what you see on like CMP high power shooters. They may even do the completely inverted grip clamp C TM Polinar Tactical thing. So at the end of the day, do what's right for you. If you're a competition shooter and you're going to be slamming that thing onto VTAC barricades all day, and you're going to be, moving dynamically and shooting the rifle for about a minute or two, and then you're going to put it down for 45 minutes before you even have to touch the thing again, and the handguard will never get hot. Nothing is ever going to create an uncomfortable sort of thing with that setup. Sure, yeah, go for it. Don't use a vertical foregrip. But in my opinion, if you're using this for a practical purpose, outside of competition and outside of, very simple home defense, if you're going to use this in the way that the Second Amendment is, designed for us at the end state to be used, that little gizmo there can really provide a lot of benefit. And what I would ask, because Lucas came out and said, hey, go out on the flat range and test this for yourselves. Figure out what it is. I'm going to say the same thing. And I would actually encourage people of Lucas's ilk who think these things are stupid. Okay, put a sling on this, get a 40-pound backpack, and hike somewhere with at least some hills, and hike start with 2 miles, maybe 3, 4 if you can do it. Just go out there, get in nature, hike around a little bit. You will want one of these. I can almost tell you, when you are tired, you're going to want one of these. Don't know what else to say, guys. I think the entire debate is silly. I think it's one of those things where the internet just latched onto an opinion and said, we're going to turn this into a crapshoot, and everyone's going to be arguing with each other for something that is effectively minutia at the end of the day. So this has been I Poke Holes in Paper, and go poke holes in paper, people. Or ring steel, whatever you have. Bye.